Okay, so a lot of times we will see somebody buys a property, it's in terrible conditions, maybe they're going to do a remodel on it, maybe they bought it in December, they haven't repaired it by January. The appraisal district, if you don't notify them, is still going to value it, even maybe you paid $200, they're going to value it at $250, $300, because that's what all the houses in the neighborhood are selling for. If that's the case, you need to get in there. And what type of documentation would you want to use to support why you paid a lower price and why it should be valued? The appraised value should be a lower price.
Okay. You would want to bring in your pictures of the property showing, like, hey, the conditions on the inside didn't reflect the outside, or we're going to rehab this, and here is what it's going to cost. And again, cost to cure, not cost to improve, but yes. So
I bought a house that was 20 years old. I've got to take all the carpet, all the appliances. Is that rehab or is that improvement?
So if the reason why you bought it for less is because it was in that condition, then I think that's an argument that you could make.
Okay. And the most effective way to do that is make that argument before you get that appraised value.
If you can. And in the worst case scenario, if you can't come to an agreement with your appraiser, file a protest.
Okay. So. And if you filed a protest, any idea what percentage of those protests that actually go to the appraisal review board, what percentage would you say are successful protests?
Boy, I really could not answer that question.
Okay.
I do know that if you come in, let me put it this way. I've rarely seen a taxpayer come in with sufficient evidence to prove that there's condition and not get a reduction.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's rarely the case. The only time I've ever seen that is because they came in and that wasn't conditioned as of January 1. Right? That's about the only time I've ever seen that. Or they fixed it before January 1, one of those two things. But if that's a condition as of January 1, the board's going to rule in your favor typically. And honestly, if you file a protest and you can get us that estimates beforehand, I mean, we don't want to go before the board for something like that. We'd rather settle it if we can. So. And
you can submit that evidence online as well.
Yep. And if you check informal, that's another thing we didn't talk about for the appraisal process or for the protest process. If you want an appraiser to contact you before your hearing, check the informal box. We are required by law to meet with you with informal. Now, that informal process may be an email or a phone call, not necessarily in person, but we'll contact you. We'll say, hey, what do you got? What is it that you think affects your value? But again, as we've talked about, if there's conditions, it's better to get that to us beforehand.